Hello dear viewers. In today's video I will show you 10 most fascinating archaeological sites, exploring the ruins of an ancient area where complex and enigmatic cultures previously flourished before dying away is truly wonderful. Several cultural and religious sites around the world have either survived the test of time or have been unearthed, and they now stand as famous monuments for travelers to admire. Here's my pick for the 10 most fascinating archaeological sites and legendary ruins that you need to put on your bucket list. Stonehenge, United Kingdom. Stonehenge, an ancient landmark with a 4,500-year history, has many distinct meanings to people today. Its ring of standing stones is an engineering marvel, and constructing it would have necessitated a massive effort from hundreds of well-organized individuals utilizing only basic tools and technologies. We don't know what the remains were built for. It serves no apparent practical use. Because it could not have been guarded and could not have been lived in, there must have been a spiritual motive for Neolithic and Bronze Age people to invest so much time and effort in its construction. It's been believed that Stonehenge has been a burial place since its inception. The Great Wall, China. The Great Wall is a magnificent example of ancient defensive engineering. Its winding road takes in some spectacular sights as it passes through tough terrain and steep mountains. With a total length of more than 20,000 kilometers, the wall was continually erected on the northern frontier of the country, from the 3rd century BC to the 17th century AD, as the primary military defense project of successive Chinese empires, 12,000 mi. The Great Wall of China starts in Hebei province's Shanhaiguan and ends in Gansu province's Jiayuguan. Walls, horse paths, watchtowers, and wall shelters make up the majority of the structure, which also contains numerous spectacular fortifications and passes. Due to natural erosion and human damage, about 1,200 miles of the Great Wall has disappeared or turned into a ruin. Maui statues, Easter Island located in Chile. The gigantic megaliths known as Maui statues can be found on Chile's Easter Island, which is located in the Pacific Ocean. The occupants of this island, also known as Rapa Nui, created the Moais between 1,400 and 1,650 ZD. There are roughly 1,000 statues, weighing up to 86 tons and standing up to 10 meters, 33 feet, tall, though the average is about half that. The volcano Rano Raraku provided 95% of the Moais. This place was chosen because it contains a lot of tuff, which is compressed volcanic ash that is easier to carve because the locals didn't have any metal to carve with and only used stone tools, the so-called toki. Moai statues were built to honor chieftain or other important people who had passed away. That aliens made the Moai statues is a quite common belief. Chichen Itza, Mexico. Mexico has the best and most diversified collection of archaeological sites on the American continent, with dozens of old pre-Columbian towns created over thousands of years by a series of sophisticated civilizations. Chichen Itza, a Mayan metropolis in the province of Yucatan, located halfway between Merida and Cancun, is the most visited and certainly most famous ruin. The massive complex spans 10.4 square kilometers, 4 square miles, yet the focal core is significantly smaller and more easily accessible. The center is dominated by El Castillo, a Mesoamerican step pyramid that served as a temple to the god Kukulkan between the 9th and 12th centuries CE. Chichen Itza was awarded the title World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1988. Acropolis of Athens, Greece. From the steep cliff known as the Acropolis, the grandest and best sanctuary of ancient Athens, dedicated principally to its patron, the goddess Athena, dominates the modern city's center. This sacred precinct is linked to ancient Athens' most famous myths, greatest religious festivals, first cults, and several pivotal events in the city's history. The Acropolis monuments are in perfect harmony with their surroundings. These one-of-a-kind ancient architectural masterpieces integrate several orders and styles of classical art in a most imaginative way, influencing art and culture for ages. The Acropolis is the most accurate reflection of the splendor, power, and wealth of Athens at its greatest peak, the Golden Age of Pericles. Giza Pyramids, Egypt. Located just outside of the outskirts of Cairo on the esplanade, known as the Giza Plateau, the Great Pyramids of Giza is Egypt's most famous archaeological site. All three of Giza's famed pyramids and their elaborate burial complexes were built during a frenetic period of construction, from roughly 2550 to 2490 BC by pharaohs Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. Egypt's pharaohs expected to become gods in the afterlife. To prepare for the next world, they built temples to the gods and gargantuan pyramid tombs for themselves, filled with all the things each ruler would need to guide and sustain himself in the next world. Each pyramid is part of a much larger complex, including a palace, temples, solar boat pits, and other features. The site also includes the remains of many smaller temples and settlements, which are invaluable for understanding ancient Egyptian life in this area. Petra, located in Jordan. Petra, commonly known as the Rose Red City, is a world-renowned archaeological site and Jordan's most popular tourist destination. Although the exact date of Petra's construction is unknown, the city began to develop as the capital of the Nabatean Empire in the 1st century before Christ, which grew wealthy from the trade of frankincense, myrrh, and spices. Petra was eventually acquired by the Roman Empire and prospered until a massive earthquake in the 4th century AD devastated much of the city. The earthquake, combined with changes in trade routes, eventually brought the city to its knees, and it was abandoned. In 1812, a Swiss explorer named Johannes Burckhardt rediscovered Petra, after which the site began attracting visitors and continues to do so today. Tikal, Guatemala. Tikal is Guatemala's most famous landmark and the largest excavated site in the Americas, comprising some of the most fascinating archaeological sites of the ancient Maya civilization. Most of the site's buildings were constructed during the 8th century AD, when Tikal became the greatest city in the Maya world with a population of perhaps 100,000. The ceremonial center contains superb temples and palaces, and public squares accessed by means of ramps. Remains of dwellings are scattered throughout the surrounding jungle. Remarkably, Hernan Cortes, the conqueror of Mexico, marched by Tikal in 1525, but they failed to see its temples concealed by silk, cotton, cedar, and mahogany trees. It wasn't until 1848 that an expedition sent out by the Guatemalan government discovered the ruins. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. Angkor Wat, a UNESCO World Heritage Monument, is Asia's most famous archaeological site and the main attraction for many savvy travelers from around the world visiting Cambodia. Angkor was the capital of the ancient Khmer Empire from the 9th to the 15th centuries, and it developed to be the world's biggest pre-industrial town, spanning an area roughly similar to today's Paris. The Khmer king was seen to have a divine role, and each king had to build an appropriate temple to consecrate the symbolic tie between ruler and god. Angkor Wat, with its world-renowned silhouette, best seen from Angkor Wat, is one of the most famous temples on the site. Machu Picchu, Peru. The mist-shrouded citadel of Machu Picchu was built at the top of a mountain using gigantic and intimidating stone blocks linked without cement to form one of the Inca Empire's most important religious, political, and cultural centers. Hiram Bingham revealed this Inca city to the world in 1911, and it is divided into two big sectors: the agricultural sector, which has an enormous network of terraces, and the urban sector, which includes exquisite constructions such as the Sun Temple. The site's lush green terraces and majestic mountains combine to produce a breathtaking landscape that far exceeds visitors' expectations. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more amazing videos, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I dare you.